psychological system or technology, a way of viewing the world, a way of walking in the world, that we can live our fullest and highest aspirations. So we learn about kindness, loving kindness. That's the first meditation we learn. And loving kindness is simply you have to love being kind. And so if you don't really like being kind, it's impossible, to practice loving kindness. So we learn about the qualities of kindness, what that really means. And we find that inside of ourselves, and we nurture it until we learn to be kind to ourselves. Most Americans, we're so hard on ourselves. We're so condemning of ourselves. And what we give ourselves, we also give to others. And so we learn how to be kind to ourselves, how to be accepting of ourselves, our shortcomings, how to give ourselves some grace. And this grows until we can also give it to the other, seeing the other like oneself. And so in this way, everything we offer, we first take for ourselves. And so compassion, giving compassion to ourselves. Nobody's parents came with a how-to manual. So everybody is saying, I'm all messed up because my parents did that to me, But we learn to give compassion to ourselves, and then we start to extend compassion to others. First, those who are close to us. It's kind of easy, though, to love those that love you. But so we keep moving outward until we get to the ones that we consider our enemy or our foe, and we start to see every being like oneself. Every being wants to be happy. Every being wants to be free. Every being wants their own view or opinion to be respected. And in this way, we practice what we call a hymns of nonviolence. And when you start getting to that place, then it's like the teachings of every great master, but it has to be a real experience inside. And so this has been a wonderful path for me in 1999, I think. I began to really investigate it, and I found it was something that was not in conflict for me, but something that I really could work with and practice to become a better human being. And I've liked it so much, that I have continued with it. And sometimes I say, oh, well, now, if I knew then what I know now, there'd be no need for me to change. No need to change religion, no need to change, none of that, because you still hold relationship regardless of what you call something, And so now I say, no need to change anything. It's just like you have a turkey on the table. But Thanksgiving is no fun with just a turkey, even though you want the turkey. But you have all of these other things on the table, and that's what really makes it, a special meal. And so these teachings add to your spiritual tradition and give deeper insight and a way of exercising our muscles so that we can walk in the very faith we say we embrace. So when we say we are lovers of humankind, we are truly able to do it. Our skillfulness develops. So that's my story. That's how I came, and I needed this path. I needed this path just because of my own life. Everybody's got a story, Stories and life are like this. Everybody's got one. And so one person's drama is, the same as another. But what makes it this so special is you can apply the salve to wherever you hurt. For me, it was being an African American, being a product of the '60s. I know that was before y'all's time. But I was a product of the '60s, and I was very hurt. I was very wounded, also very fearful. But now I walk free, not fearing any man, because I'm not hating any man, you see. So that freedom that we want, that we're looking for from the outside cannot be found. It has to come from the inside. I had to liberate myself. I had to change my own mind. I had to change how I view other people. And when I walk in that, then I'm free. But the thing about it is when you walk in that kind of freedom, there is a brightness that shines on others. And they start to see themselves, and they make their own changes, and they become free too. And so we set people free by just getting free ourselves. So that's my story. So if you have any questions about anything about practice, please feel free. One thing I will say is I consider myself a Bhante. In many spiritual traditions, all spiritual traditions, there's a lot of patriarchy. Sometimes it's downright misogyny. And so I feel that I have a role in bringing some clarity and freedom, even to just females in society. So they call, in Catholics you have the fathers and then you have the sisters. Okay, so in Buddhism you have the Bhante is like Venerable Sir or Father, and then you have the Ayahs, they're like the sisters. Or you have in the Tibetan it's Anis, and they're like auntie. So I just totally reject that. So I'm also a Bhante, and I'm a female monk. And so this starts to break down some of these constructs that we put, in a way to create barriers between people and create hierarchies, and so we have to learn how not only to seize our freedom, but how to keep it, how to walk in it. And when we do, we actually free people who have been bound by tradition, by ways, and then life can really, really be wonderful. Yeah.
This is part of what happens in the West, is you keep getting these hybrids. And now we have this hybrid of African-American pastors speaking the Dhamma, and it gets really interesting because, I know the cadence, I know the rhythm, I know, and it's like, I'm not in Ebenezer Baptist Church, I'm here in a Dhamma hall, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear that. It's beautiful. Questions?
Sure. So, you said you were a pastor before this. How did you get a taste of all this? You didn't just walk into a temple one day and decide this is it, or did you?
I was praying. And I said, Jesus, I believe that we can come up to the fullness of the measure of your stature. I believe that's true. But I can't seem to find my way in there, The good I would do, I don't do. What I don't do, I need help, And I got this, just the voice of the Holy Spirit that you haven't seen the pattern in a way that you can understand it. And so that gave me the encouragement to look. And so that Sunday I took my congregation to another church and said, I'm embarking on a personal journey. I can't take you with me because I don't know where I'm going. But the one who I believe told me to look, to take this leap of faith.
Right.
And I did. And so I just started investigating other wisdom teachings. Sometimes if you want to know what a master means, you can't ask his students because they don't know. They're trying to figure it out. But you can ask another master. And so that's what I started doing, looking. And I could see another way something was articulated. In a way that gave more understanding to the teachings and the beliefs that I already had.
Right.
And so it was like that. And then ultimately, 15 years down the road, I discovered the Dhamma. So Buddha is not like a god,
right.
Like the son of God is not, but it symbolizes our own, the possibility of awakening, And so our Buddha nature, that nature that is in us. And so even when we pay homage, we're paying homage to that ideal, that principle, and not, to remain. Well, in the beginning when I first saw it, and nobody could have talked to me from the outside, but this was something of my own faith wanting to come show me something or tell me something. I had words for it, you know. So that's why I understand these kinds of things. And so it's the own conviction of my heart. And then as I began to start with some basic things and put it to the test, I found out that that's true and that I can verify it by direct experience. For instance, that if I turn my mind to some things continually, that will become the inclination of my mind. I'll lean in that direction.
Right.
So I started examining, where I continually turn my mind. So you see, it's a technology like this. It's this kind of mental training so that we can really come up into the fullness of our heart aspiration. So it might be kind of boring, because we don't sing great songs and this like that, not that devotional aspect. But I tell you the truth, when you really start to come up into the fullness of a promise, there is a confidence and there's an assurance and there is a happiness that arises inside. So,
Thank you.
I have a question, and it can be toward any of the bodies here. Would you say Buddhism then, is the practicing of all that is best that humanity has to offer, like the loving kindness and the compassion? Is it the practicing of those? I don't know if you want to call them virtues.
well, I think you can say that. It's we believe in direct experience. It's like a baker by virtue of the fact that he bakes. So I know that I'm flowing in love and kindness when I'm being loving and when I'm being kind. And when I'm not, I can be clear that hate and love can't occupy the same space. And so I can evaluate by my thoughts, my speech, and my actions. So we're constantly, that's what they said about Jesus, that they had a problem with this man because his thoughts, his words, and his actions all aligned, so we can't even, what can you do with somebody that truthful, And so this is what we practice, examining our thoughts, examining our speech, and examining whether our actions were really walking out our intentions. And when we don't, we just recognize, why you got to work on that. See that right there? Because I don't want you to tell me that my slip is showing. I want to see it for myself and work on it for myself. And so instead of us looking at other people's shortcomings, whenever we see it, we wonder, is that also, do I act like that sometimes? And if I did, how would I want somebody to treat me afterwards? Do I want them to forgive me? Do I want them to, do I want them to correct me? And we learn not to be so sensitive then. Something is just what it is. So we can accept what comes in a day, whether it's praise or blame, whether it's loss or gain, whether it's pleasure or pain, whether it's shame or whether it's fame. It's just what has happened. This is the reality, the truth of the moment. I can accept it. Accept it means I recognize it is here. And it got here due to a number of factors. And when I understand the factors that produce that situation, if I don't want it anymore, then I do something different. It's not like we keep doing the same thing. Say, why is this always happening to me? And so we start learning to make choices in life, conscious choices, based on what we really want for ourselves. And that's not easy because sometimes it means separating from friends who really are going in a way that you don't really feel like comfortable inside, but you want your friends, So they're not always easy decisions to make. But what we can find, we can realize, is that when we make the right decision for us, there's a little taste of freedom, a little taste of being released, or relieved, not so anxious, not so fearful, not worrying, not troubled, and that's what we're all looking for, this mental
unwholesome. And if you went through the checklist of what is in the Buddhist teaching of wholesome and unwholesome, it would, I think, align very well with pretty much any teaching that says this is the best of humanity, this is what's wholesome, this is what brings us down as unwholesome. So I think very much cross-cultural aligns in the same way.
I do have one question for you. Being a former pastor, do you still believe in the theistic God?
Well, you know, Buddha didn't say that there were no gods.
Right, but they...
Right. What I don't believe is that he actually requires our worship. I think he'd like to see his folk to grow up into the fullness, and that's why instruction was given. So I think of him as a good friend. And I think of Jesus as one who pointed out these are the qualities of godliness, and that they are attainable and available to you right here, right now. So I consider them like a way shower. You know, like if I want an apple harvest, I have to plant an apple seed. And if I plant an apple seed, I don't have to worry about whether an orange tree is going to grow. If I plant an apple seed and water it, give it sunshine, give it light, only thing possible to grow is an apple, you know. So that means that I no longer have to worry about making heaven my home. If I'm planting the seeds that produce a favorable rebirth in heaven, that comes automatically. So it's still in the doing, it's still in our speech, it's still in our thinking. That's where the seeds are. And I try to plant those seeds that inure to that good benefit. So not believing it, doing it.
I don't know. You know, like, why Theravada Buddhism, or more specifically, what separates that branch of Buddhism from others, such as maybe what everybody's familiar with, Tibetan Buddhism or Tantric or whatever other types there are out there? What makes this branch different? It always comes back to you, doesn't it?
Hey, you're more qualified than we sometimes.
Well, you see, if any time there is a teaching, that great teacher is sent and knows how to speak to the people he sent to. Well, we're not in India right now, right? And so when the Buddha was speaking, he was addressing, you know, turning upright what was a little off kilter amongst the people he was teaching. But as his teachings, because they're universal in nature, begin to spread around the world, then each society looks at it with the eye of what's dysfunctional in their own, you know, in their own culture and in their own society. It also mixes with, I mean, when Buddhism travels to another place, it's like not like they didn't have any spiritual tradition that was of any value, you know. So there is already an existing spiritual tradition, and so as it starts to add or flavor the soup, if you will, then you have different ways of expression. And it's just like in the Christian church, how you have different denominations, you know.
Sure.
The Baptists are known for their hospitality, and Charismatics are known for the gifts of the Spirit, and Pentecostals are known for knowledge of the Word. And, you know, and these kinds of ways, the Lutherans are known for the liturgy. In the same way, it is with Buddhism when it goes with China, and it was mixed with those who had either Confucius or Taoist, you know, leanings. Right. And when it went to, you know, Japan, it was with the what do you call it, samurai. Shinto. Yeah. Right. And when it went to Tibet, it was with the Bon. When it comes to America, necessarily, you know, there will be the looking to see where it aligns with Judeo-Christian teachings.
Right.
And people will cleave to that part of it. And so for me, I started Chan because I was in China at the time. Mm-hmm. When I came home, every Chan temple, they only spoke Chinese, no useful to me. So then I found a Tibetan one. I went to Tibetan, and in Tibetan with Bon, they acknowledge, they have they have many gods, not just one. So I love praise and worship. So hey, the more the merrier. That was just great for me. The devas, they have devas like we had angels. So it was like I was like right home base. But I still wasn't getting what I was really looking for, and that was how to deal with myself. That was it. The unruliness that I had, that just love didn't always, just the skillfulness wasn't there, and I wanted it to be there. So then this guy comes along in these funny robes and stuff, and he just gives me a book called Majima Nikaya. And as I read it, it so corrected my thinking, that I felt like I could eat the pages of the book. It gave me so much groundedness, and that was a Theravada monk. So first I started Chinese, then went Tibetan, and then I went Theravada. And people say, oh, you're going in the wrong direction, because they're narrow, just actions, words, and doing, but we have all of this and all of that, and we have the colors, and we have the but this was what I was seeking, that which would strengthen me as a human being, and that's sort of so we might be considered the most, I don't like to say fundamental, I'll say the most foundational, very solid, very grounded, and that's just what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Everything else I was cool. I needed that part.
Right.
And so, yeah.
I wanted to suggest something. If you just a little bit, you mentioned there's not some of the singing and praise in the liturgy. I do want them to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Could you chant just a little bit of something? And again, it's not that it's going to be something that's trying to put some belief system out there, but more just this is part of why people come, especially on Monday nights. There's the beauty of this loving kindness meditation and the very heartfelt chanting that's done. So I hope that was okay. It's been done.
Yes. Please sit in a very comfortable position. Sit in a comfortable position. And please close your eyes with big smile. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Normally we are breathing and breathe out with many thoughts. But now please try to breathe in and breathe out with only may I be well, happy and peaceful. It's a good practice. Now concentrate on breathing and breathe out with may I be well, happy and peaceful. Now I will chant. Buddhang saranam gacchāmi. Dhammang saranam gacchāmi. Sanghang saranam gacchāmi. Iti piso bhagavārahang sammā sambuddho vicca sampanno sugato lokavido anuttaro purisa dhammasarati santa deva manusanam buddho bhagavati Swamkhato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Epasiko Opanaiko Pancantang Veditambu Vinyo Iti. May you be well, happy and peaceful. May you be well, happy and peaceful. Please think your parents, your family members, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your countrymen. And now, please breathe in and breathe out with. May all living beings be well and happy. Please concentrate your own breathing and breathe out with. May all living beings be well and happy. Buddham saranam gacchami dhammam saranam gacchami sangham saranam gacchami. May all living beings be well and happy. May all living beings be well and happy. Now slowly open your eyes with big smile. Yeah. It's short, loving kindness meditation. I'm sorry, something
Yeah,
happened.
do you know, is there something I should adjust here?
I don't, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
If you know what to turn, you can tell me.
Yes. I think the loving kindness meditation is very, very good for our mind. And it's very good medicine. Yes. And when you go to the doctor, sometimes they say, oh, you have to, stress, you have to reduce our own stress. Sometimes they say, oh, the good medicine is meditation. Yes. You don't have to be Buddhist, but you have to take care of your mind. It is very good for the day-to-day life. It's been interesting. Every Monday, 6:30, we have loving kindness meditation. Every Thursday, 6:30, practice breathing meditation. And every Saturday, 9 a.m., we practice yoga. This is the teacher.
Except this Saturday, don't come this Saturday.
Yes. It's very, very good,
And you probably find
also to be Bodhisattva.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Also, we don't have to be Buddhist, we have to practice good things.
Right.
It's very helpful to your daily life. Like the homework here, if you want to get good credit from your teacher, you have to do homework, you have to
Right.
otherwise, yeah.
And part of what Bhante was chanting was Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. You go to refuge to those three things. They're called the triple gems. And they are ways to support the practice. The Buddha is the embodiment, the teacher. The Dharma, or Dhamma, is usually more the way it's pronounced in Theravada, is the teaching. And then Sangha is the community, which traditionally means the ordained community, but in the West has kind of expanded more to mean the whole community of practitioners. And they're, it's there to support their practice. So that's part of what the chant is.
Practice and practice. Any questions? I get questions is on.
You can ask her questions.
Well, I do want to say that we feel honored that we were able to come at a time when you were
Right
here, Bhante,
Yeah.
and to be able to
Yeah.
take in the wisdom and sharing your story too.
Interesting, yeah.
I go to universities all over the country and teach. And I was just at Harvard last month, and the kids, I just call them kids because I'm so old, but you know what I mean. And the kids were under such tremendous pressure to achieve, because they either came from wealthy families or they got these like $80,000 a year scholarships that they had to, walk in, and they were like totally stressed out. And so what's so good about this kind of practice is that, science is discovering. And we used to say by 2 you said, whatever you didn't get, you were just going to be locked in a certain behavioral mode when you were 2 years old. That's what they were teaching when I was, coming up. That's why I say, one time science told us the earth was flat, so I take all science with a little grain of salt. It's subject to change. And so, but they're teaching us now, and through continued examination and study, that we're never too old to change, and to recognize that sometimes the things that we do that we don't like about ourselves is not because we're bad people or because we're slacking off, but simply because we have established a tendency, a pattern. And we're so marvelously made that once we establish a pattern, we don't have to think it up every time. It's just as soon as the impulse hits, the whole body already knows, it's programmed in there, and it says, oh, she wants to do that. And when I no longer want to do that, the body's saying, yes you do, you taught me, this is what you want to do. So what this practice does, like something, just stopping for a minute, thinking, I want to be well, happy, peaceful. I also want those that I love to be well, happy, peaceful. I can even extend that to folk I don't even hardly know. Might be a stretch for my enemies, but I can work on that, And in time, I can also wish them happiness, knowing they want to be happy, just like I want to be happy, even though we might not be that type. And so this is cultivating a change of view, a way of thinking, and it takes time. But every time I go back to it and remind myself of this, this is a great spiritual aspiration. Then I allow a little bit of grass to grow on that thinking, and I mow down a little bit of grass on this new thinking. And before I know it, I have a road and I'm going this way, and the grass has grown up in that old way of thinking. I no longer go that way. Then when I'm confronted by someone, instead of me just hearing them yelling at me, just seeing something so terrible in their demeanor, what I really see is their suffering and their pain, because I know how I am when I'm off the chain. I know how I am when I'm so upset that I can't hardly see, or when I'm, I know how it feels. I know how it feels inside. And that really doesn't make the other person, feel anyway. I feel that inside when my body is pumping chemicals in, when I'm in fight or flight mode. So when somebody comes at me that way, I recognize what's happening with them, and I set the temperature. I set the barometer. I can be calm and steady, and then it helps tamp them down. Or I can have enough clarity to know this is a dangerous situation. I need to move and can move out. But I don't have to get lost in emotion or get anxiety or fearful or in the fighting mode. I can just recognize this is not a healthy situation. I'm trying, I'm not going to be able to bring you down. I can make my exit. Or if a person doesn't understand what I'm trying to say, maybe I can't keep trying to get it across. I just accept that. But for now they can't understand. It is so important that I have to be understood. Just understanding yourself. Come back and visit it at a later time. Maybe not have anything to do with what's going on. It's just has to do with what's going on in their house this morning, And then I'm thinking, oh, she's just not trying to hear me. But it's not about me at all. It's about what's happening at home. And so we get a broader understanding, psychological understanding of things, and we're able to function better and be more useful. Actually, it's not a lot to this, but it's hard work. As we all know, it is hard work. So it's not a lot of talking about it, but it's that moment by moment awareness of what am I doing, what am I saying, what am I thinking.
It is simple, but it's also powerful. And I think you're saying to have our thoughts, our words, and our behavior consistent.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing also.
Any other questions? And one way to put that is if you did have questions, what would they be? There you go. It always gets one, at least. Yes.
Would you tell us about your process from being just someone who participates in meditation to becoming a monk?
Process. Seeking out a good teacher and making your aspiration known. What that teacher does is that they observe. Sometimes we think we want to do this because we can't handle this, so that's a way of escape, escapism. And so we say, don't run away. First, just stand. And we teach them how to just stand and face their own life situations. But, different people have different propensities. Some are really wanting the fellowship of others. Other people find that this life has become dusty. For me, I did everything I wanted to do. I had my loves, I had my children, I had my businesses, I had my fame, so I wasn't looking. There was nothing else that the world really held for me, and so I generally encourage people not to jump in it too quickly as a way of escape. But when things start to fade away from your life, I've been long time spiritual practitioner, long time, very, very devout Christian. So many things just no longer I wasn't interested in anything out there, but just how to more fully align, with what I believe is possible for us, what we're making a great aspiration, who we're making a great aspiration to be. And so if I had been a Catholic, then I would have been a nun, but I wasn't a Catholic. I started off as a Baptist, and we didn't have them, so I would sneak into the Catholic churches dip in the holy water, and I love the smell of the incense, that frankincense and myrrh, and I love, like we had regular buildings, but they had high cathedrals. So when he sings, when he chants, we call that Western chanting. When he chants, it brings all of that back for me. How it brings about a certain stillness, and that stillness, for a person who lives the life of a monk, they find fellowship in this deep stillness. So if I'm like hanging around and jaw-jacking with people, then I probably don't have as much of a propensity towards this, but it's this sort of renunciation, moving inward, and finding happiness in that, and then making yourself available to just be a present help in a time of need. So we only live for being able to be helpful to others. We have no needs. We get food, clothing, shelter, medicine, that's it. That's it. So we don't have a need for a lot of things. That frees up our energy and time to be helpful to others who may be suffering mentally or going through something in their family or just confused about life, how it works, and we're able to be there for them. That's where our joy comes from. So then you go, I forgot the process. So then you go to a monk or a female monk and you make your aspiration known. And then they observe, they watch you for a time. Then they allow you to take a temporary ordination, like maybe 10 days at a time. And you get a little taste of this, and then you start to see, oh my, I thought I wanted to be so too much. I can't take more. Day number 10, I'm like, you gotta get out of here. Or by day number 10, maybe you're really settling down. So, maybe that is for them, But you come back, ask me again in a little while, So you come back again, and we say, yeah, I really want it, And then we give ordination and 1 year observing, training, gradually training in what we call perfections and how becoming patient and, all the good qualities of holy beings, and just little by little refining our discipline, becoming more and more disciplined. Everything we want to do, we can't just run out and do. We learn to have fewness of wishes, and get along without needing to make ourselves up to look beautiful. That's why we shave our heads, and to not having all of these clothes on. Today I want to wear this. No, what looks so bad on me? No, I like this. And so we get like wear a robe really simple. Quick come and go. I can get ready 15 minutes in the morning, and not a lot to do, and that sort of thing. And then after another year or 2 years, then we think this is really for you, and you think this is really for you, then we have another acknowledgement, and you become full-fledged monk, and then you agree to stay with your teacher for 2 to 5 more years, until you're really stable and settled, and you think you have a good reputation, really truthful and honest in your heart to the path of goodness, and then you're free to go out, maybe on your own and help somebody or some community. Was that good?
Yeah.
In the other 2 Bantes, there's, you mentioned 9.5 when you were, but there's 2 ordinations, correct? I don't know if you just want to mention that, like that choice of when you take this path, the high ordination type of thing that happens.
The ordination ceremony, and we have 2 ordination ceremony. One is ordination ceremony, another one high ordination ceremony. The ordination monks have to practice 10 rules and 10 questions. A high ordination monk, that is
We had three.
Yes.
But when, when I, for example, after became ordination, very, very, very difficult to practice because I was very young. I became ordination more than 75 children. Still living in the temple, I think maybe 3 or 5. More than 65, 70 they stopped. with a different happen, not the one reason, different family problems, personal problem. Yeah, but now I'm staying in temple very peaceful, very happy. Yeah, yes, and everything. Beginning is very hard. Step by step, okay. For example, meditation. I was in Buddhist school more than 15 years. We had agenda. Everybody had to wake up before 5 o'clock in the morning, and we have to start the cleaning. We have to clean the temple around the temple. We have to practice meditation morning, evening. We have to keep a lot of memorize about chanting, different language, different religion, history, so many things. It was very, very difficult time, but okay. Now I always try to continue my online kind of meditation. But when I was Buddhist school, the meditation is my boring subject, honestly. But now it's very helpful. It's very good. Yes.
Yes. Do you like to listen my personal experience
Yes.
of it? Okay, thank you all. The Bhante and the Bhikkhu, and they explain more, but I have to do, I try to give my personal experience in a nutshell. That means my experience and my English is not well, I'm a little bit, no actually, but I was being a monk about when I was 10 years. Now I am 60. Yeah, this temple has celebrated my 60-year birthday. Very grand. Actually, I am very happy. Before the monk, I was staying in the monastery about 1 or 2 years. I was in 2 years. It is, Bhante explained, it is not easy. Then my teacher always watching me. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If they are free, he always advised me the real way, what you are going the real way. I can select if you can be a monk or either you can go home. If after like, you can be a monk. If not, you can go after. You can decide yourself. My teacher is not ordered to me. I can understand what I am going the way. Then later, after 2 years, my father, we are actually originally Sri Lankan, and originally my parents are Buddhist, birthed by the Buddhists. My grandmother, grandfather were very Buddhist. Sri Lanka is a Buddhist country. About there are 80% of the Buddhists. There are other people, Hindu, Christians, and the Muslims are all living together peacefully. But mostly Buddhist country, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and the Laos and Cambodia, in Asia and South Asia. And I think later I decided to be a monk. We have to recite more things, learn more things. To be a monk, it is actually it's not easy. Recite by the mind. When the morning, Bhatta told me, has a schedule and the timetable. You must get up early. My time is very hard because I was in this before 50 years ago. I've been a monk 50 years ago. That's something you have not been in the world when I was being a monk. That time Sri Lanka is a hard time. Then I later became a monk. With me, 500 children. 500 children became monk that time. My country believe if we have 5 children. First for the one is the Buddhism, to protect the Buddhism. Other one is protect the country. He is going to army, navy, or any other. Yeah. My younger brother went to the army. He was a lieutenant in army. Yes, now he's retired. Then we believe your country and my religion. Actually, Buddhists, especially Buddhists, they believe we are offering a kiss to the Buddha Sasana Buddhism. They can easily get enlightenment and be a final goal. It is our believing. That later, after 20 years, I got high ordination. At that time, I got the high ordination with the 400 kids. But when I got high ordination, was 150. That other was gone home. This stop is not good. Actually, Sri Lanka is sometimes not like parents, but Thailand is not problem. Thailand culture can come and monk and go home. If someone be married, he especially need to be a monk. Later he can disrobe. My country is not like that. I cannot do, but this is no problem. We can get home. Later, I get the university. I am the education in the Faradini University. I got my degree in Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, and I later had many subjects: Sinhala, Pali, Sanskrit, English, and geography, history, and many subjects in my primarily Buddhist school. Later I had been to university. I studied Buddhism and Buddhist philosophy. Then I had another degree about the Pandita. The Pandita degree is only Sinhala, Pali, and Sanskrit, and the Buddhism. And after being and getting my degrees, I was principal of the Buddhist college. Yes, they are learning 400 children, and male and female, and the monks and everybody is learning together. And later I was retired when I was 55. All in Sri Lanka retired when they got 55 years. Then we can continue 60 years. But I retired. I have wanted to this Dhamma to every country, everybody. I have been traveled all over the world, in many countries. But I have need to practice their culture, their tradition, friendship, and their religions, and habits, and their thought and thinking, and everything. Especially I would like to America, especially. I am my favorite, my good, and I have so many I like country this America. I 4 times came to the America. Yes, I was the first time I was been in 1994. 1994 I was in Pennsylvania. We had a temple in Pennsylvania, it's a hill countryside. There was 1.5 years there. The Americans are very friendly person, because I met some old American, they had been in the Second World War to Vietnam. They had been to Vietnam. There was a jungle fighting. They are traveling the jungle side. They see the Buddhist monastery. Yeah, you understand what I say? They were like the one of my older one is his name is I didn't forget. He told me Bhante. Bhante is our addressing systems, like sister or my father or like that. He told me, I got to one time I went to the Vietnam for the Second World War as American army soldier. I went to there. The space is very peaceful, very good. Later, after finishing the war, I came back to my country. Then I searched in the temple. One day was I on the mailbox. He came and stopped his car. He see this my cloth. Where you come from? Who are you? Yes, just I like to talk. It's a little bit English. Then I said, I came from Sri Lanka. I'm a Buddhist. Oh, I know. tomorrow I will definitely come to your temple. I know something with the Buddhism. Just now he is still in our temple in now. Then actually our belief, we are not, Bhante always told everybody, don't be convert to a religion. It is the Bhante, Bhikkhuni. Actually we have four kind of thing, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, and the Upasaka, Upasaka like that. There is our congregation in four kind. It's a Bhikkhuni, is a female, and can have a lot of practice. She explained all that me because this American nun, understanding, learning, reading, and he is a professor, and everything is known. But mostly we have the most problem is to language. Then we can have many, we can read the Pali and Sanskrit and the Buddhism, but we want to explain you because the good languages. Language is more important because sometimes you can understand what I say. I'm not going to, I'm in my throat, broken throat. I am stopping my explaining. Thank you so much. Listen to me.
To add Bhante, he has a Pandita. Pandita means the highest level in Buddhism. So if you ask him about Jataka story, including every detail, which one was the Buddha, he remembers like that. Yeah. All the sutta, including which grove, where was the Buddha live when he delivered, he remembers like that. He just, bottomless well of knowledge. Yes, it's great to get you here, Bhante.
There is a timetable that's come above